Hi, this is Terry again, and on today's video, we're going to talk about multiplying polynomials. All right, so let's look at our first problem here. We have 2x parentheses 3x minus 8. And if you remember from talking from previous videos, if we ever have a term that is right outside a set of parentheses, it's touching it, basically there's nothing between like a plus or minus sign, we just think about this being a multiplication problem. So I'm just going to put my little dot for my multiplication there so we won't forget. And then for this problem, this now says 2x times 3x minus 8. So what we're going to do is we're going to use that distributive property. We're going to take that term outside, that 2x, and we're going to multiply him by each term inside. So first we'll multiply him by that 3x. So we say 2x times 3x. Well, we know that 2 times 3 is just 6. And then we have x times x, so we know there's an x, and we have 2 x's, so this is actually x squared. Just a side note for a second, if we ever have an x times an x, basically a variable times a variable, if you remember, we talked about how we would add their exponents. Well, if there's not a number for the exponent, it's an automatic thought of as a 1. So if we added those two ones together, we would get a 2. That's how we get that x squared. So from now on, it's very important that you remember, anytime you see an x times an x, it equals an x squared. You will see this throughout college algebra. It just keeps coming back. So back to our problem here. We have 2x times 3x, so that becomes 6x squared. Then we're going to say that 2x and multiply him by the second term in the parentheses, which was the negative 8. So 2 times negative 8 is negative 16, and it has an x with it, so we bring down that x. Then we look at it and we're like, hey, can we do anything else? Can we combine anything else? Well, we have an x squared and an x. They are not like terms. They do not combine, so that is our final answer. All right, so let's look at another one here. Let's say we have 2y plus 6 times y minus 5. All right, so we are going to basically do the same thing here. I know it looks a little different, but if you've ever heard of, you may have heard it in high school, it was called the FOIL method. That is what we're going to use here. It's basically a type of distributive property. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the very first term, that 2y in our first set of parentheses, and we're going to multiply him by each term in the second set of parentheses. So we're going to say 2y times y, and that 2y times that negative 5. So let's do 2y times y first. So remember, if there is not a number in front of a variable, we just think about there being a 1 there. So I'm going to go ahead and put our 1. So this is like saying 2y times 1y. So 2 times 1 is 2. And y times y, there's 2y, so it's y squared. It's just like the x squares we were talking about a while ago. X times x is x squared, so y times y is y squared. Then we're going to look at this 2y again, and this time he's going to multiply by that negative 5. So 2 times negative 5 is negative 10, and they have a y, so we'll bring down that y. All right, so now we're going to go to the second term inside the set of parentheses, first set of parentheses, and he's going to multiply by each term in that second set of parentheses. So we're going to say 6 times 1y, or 6 times 1 is plus 6, and they both have, one of them has a y with it, so we'll bring down that y. And then we have 6 times a negative 5, so this would be a negative 30. All right, so we're not done yet. We look at this and we're like, hey, can we combine any like terms? Can we simplify it? Yes, we can. We have a negative 10y and a 6y. They both have that same y value, so we're going to be able to combine those as like terms. So when we combine, if nothing combines with it, we just bring it down. So that 2y squared is just going to come down just like it was. But now we have negative 10y plus 6y. Well, what is negative 10 plus 6? That is a negative 4. And they have the y, so we bring it down. Let me give you a side note on this. We do not make this a y squared. I know there's two y's, and we just talked about a while ago that a y times a y was a y squared. But this is not multiplication. This is just combining like terms. We're just adding or subtracting. If you are adding or subtracting, just combining like terms, we do not change the exponent. The exponent will stay the exact same as it was. All right, so we have negative 4y, and then that negative 30 didn't combine with anybody, so we just bring him down. We always check one last time. Can we combine anything? Nope, we have no like terms left, so we'll just circle that answer. That becomes our answer. Okay, so we are going to try one last one here. This time we're going to try 4x plus 6 and 4x minus 6. So we're going to start this one out just like we did before. We have a multiplication between them. We know these are multiplied because there's not an addition or subtraction between them. So we're going to start with our first 4x, and he is going to multiply by each term in the second set of parentheses. So we say 4x times 4x is, or 4 times 4 is 16. And then x times x, we've already determined that that is x squared, right? All right, so now we're going to do that 4x times that negative 6. So 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. They have one x with them, so we're going to bring down that x. All right, so that one's done. So we're going to move to the second term in the first set of parentheses. And this time we're going to multiply that 6 times that 4x and that 6 times that negative 6. He's going to multiply by each term inside that second set of parentheses. So 6 times 4x, so 6 times 4 is a plus 24. They have an x with them, so we'll bring down that x. And then 6 times a negative 6 would be a negative 36. All right, so we're not done yet. Can we combine any terms? Yes. We have a negative 24x and a positive 24x. They both have an x, so they are considered like terms. So let's combine them together. All right, that 16x squared, it didn't combine with anybody, so we just bring it straight down. But now we have negative 24x plus 24x. Well, negative 24 plus 24, that equals 0. So 0x. But here's the deal. If we ever have a 0x, we literally can just wipe it out because it's like it doesn't exist. So we're going to get rid of it. And then we have that negative 36 because it didn't combine with anybody. So we bring it straight down. So we look one more time. Can we combine anything? No, we cannot combine anything there. So 16x squared minus 36 is our final answer.